We started very early. I've been in the what is now referred to as the FinTech space, which was not what it was called back then. Back then it was just technology. But we started digitizing leather wallets. We came up with the concept in the early 90s, filed our first patent here mid 90s, and then started building the IP, the technology, a global company through a good part of the late 90s through 2000. And so I've been doing this now for almost 25 years. And what started with digitizing leather wallets quickly turned into how do you turn the mobile device into a secure transaction instrument, into how do you build an ecosystem so as a consumer you have a single window to not only do transactions seamlessly in the real and the virtual world, but more importantly do it for finance, retail, healthcare, government applications, because essentially all of those are our personalized transactions. So rather than view this just for retail or finance, how do you make sure that you really engage a consumer and they get to use this 10 times a day? And so that's how we started. I built a company, scaled it globally. We eventually sold the company to MasterCard in 2014. Frankly, what we did, I still view it to be part of the plumbing, which is important. So that's not to say that it's any less important than anything else. But clearly, given that we've had so much infrastructure to start with, both in terms of physical world transactions, more so at the time when I started, less on the virtual side, but today, frankly, we have a lot of infrastructure solutions on both, when it comes to physical payments, transactions, virtual payment transactions. To quite an extent, we all as an industry are still working on the plumbing. Now, yes, there are a lot of usability scenarios out there. A lot of people are doing interesting things to solve the last mile. But I think we're just getting started on the last mile. So if you think about consumers, you think about engagement, you think about global communities, all of that is just forming now. Now, someone would argue saying, look at Facebook, that's a huge community. Someone would argue, look at WeChat or Tencent, that's a huge community. And clearly the trend is for all of them to keep moving down that path where they can do more and more for a consumer. And so from a FinTech industry standpoint, I think that's where we all are now. We're all working towards building out the usability scenarios because we have fairly good utilities in place now. We have good plumbing in place. So if you think about what I did, I largely pioneered mobile wallets with a lot of people in the industry. I don't want to give you the impression I did it all by myself. But as an industry, we spent almost 20 years building the plumbing out. And a lot of that is now in good shape. And what that means is the next big shift will be towards the usability part. How do you build an engaging value proposition so it's a true community which is using this, like I said, 10 times a day? Until there is financial disparity, FinTech will always be very, very important. It will be relevant. And I'm not talking about the hype part of it, but in terms of delivering real value proposition. So at a strategic level, this is all about making a dent when it comes to disparity. At a tactical level, I think there's some very interesting setups already all around us. I think the biggest one is data. So yes, people have been saying data is the new money, data is the new oil for years now. But if you think about all industries which have evolved in the last 10, 20, maybe 30 plus years, they are all very provider-centric. Everything which is happening with data literally as we speak today, and probably for some more time to come, will continue to be provider-centric. Now there is a heightened sensitivity on the user side, and everything has to be evolved towards or shifted towards user-centric models. So think about it. Today as a provider, I collect data from all over. I bring it into one place. I analyze it, I profile it. Some of us do it well, some of us do not do it well. But essentially, it's provider-centric. Moving forward, we all as an industry, as providers, will be forced to think about how do we do the same and more, but not as a provider, doing it as a user-centric way. And so I think from a technology evaluation standpoint, or a technology evolution standpoint, I think that is now going to be the next big frontier, saying that the user owns the data. The user actually has always owned the data. It was wrong for us as providers to think, even if we did, that we own the data and we can do whatever we want to do with it. But moving forward, we will have to reimagine, reinvent everything from identity management, to security, to authentication, to service provisioning in a user-centric world. And I think that sets the stage for the next 10 years. That's going to be interesting, exciting, and challenging in itself.